Hello everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker. It's November 25th, not exactly 2 years since the relapse of my dissociative disorder, depersonalization-derealization disorder, but it'll be like another 2 or 3 days, and I didn't feel like waiting. Also, I finally have time to film. I had the day off work, and I haven't filmed for like a week. I've been very busy. I've been doing screenwriting assignments, going to work, taking the bus, which really doesn't add much time to my schedule because the bus ride itself, it's same as driving basically. But sometimes coming home takes a while for the bus to come, or once in a while I just walk home. I've wanted to film. It just, by the end of a day, I'm like, I'm so tired. I need to sleep. It really affects my quality of life and mental health, and how well I'm recovering if I don't sleep enough. So, man, I can hear these motorcycles, their neighbors here. They're warming up their motorcycles for like 5 minutes. I'm not even mad like they were doing it. I'm like, I guess I get it. I don't know. I looked it up a little bit because I was curious, like, well, what are people who are extremely loud on their motorcycles, which these guys weren't here, but every sound bounces off everything in this neighborhood. You can hear a conversation on the street, from down the street here. I was looking up how do people feel about that? Do they want to annoy their neighbors? Are they self-conscious or what? And one thing I learned was, yeah, you do have to let it idle for a while to warm up. So they were doing it. Anyways, but I can hear them. They've been driving for like 3-4 minutes, and I can still hear them in the distance. So the relapse, and I know, I guess technically it's not supposed to be something you say you have, it's just you experience, because it is curable. It's not something that's necessarily in you all the time. Depersonalization-Derealization disorder. I don't want to explain all the symptoms and everything. I've explained it so many times on this channel. You can look up older videos. But I had a relapse. It was kind of on video, because I was live streaming from a hotel room on Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving I spent in LA, and it was really scary. And I'm like, damn, I'm going through this again. I've relapsed several times before. It was like a low-grade anxiety attack. In the past, they've been very high-grade anxiety attacks. And it just kind of settled over me, and it's so uncomfortable and so painful, and it makes me like want to crawl out of my skin. And I was kind of disabled, or partly disabled, for like at least 5 months after that, meaning it was very hard to concentrate. I had a film job. A movie I was working on, that it was a feature, and it would shoot in short bursts, so like a few days here and there, and it was very hard for me to concentrate because I was getting such powerful, intrusive thoughts. It was so painful. Every morning I was thinking of quitting. Thank goodness I did not quit that film. Thank goodness. But it was really hard, and it was so scary and hurtful, because I was thinking, man, I would normally love working on this, and right now it is so painful, and I feel so overwhelmed by these horrible, like compulsive, intrusive thoughts in me, relating to, like Christian and Catholic indoctrination that was grafted onto me when I was young. And it's only been in the last few months I really feel like I can just see it for what it is and be like, oh, it's not, and the world's so much better without it. It's such a cruel, stupid, superstitious, barbaric, self-loathing and self-aggrandizing religion. Christianity as a whole, but especially Catholicism. And the people who practice it, they don't really take it seriously. They're hypocrites. They're like, if you took it seriously, do what I did. Like, practice, not that I practice, but feel it. Live it to the point where it's like, well, you need to be completely purified of all earthly desires. Everything's horrible, or everything is forfeit, everything is worthless, life is meaningless, because all you're waiting for is that great reward where you're separated from your body, from everyone you know, from all possessions, from anything that matters to you, And it was that just compounded things for me when I was younger. And when I just would say it when I was younger, for at least a good, it's always affected me, but very strongly for like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years, where no matter what I did, where I went in life, even though I had been, not involved in religion for a long time, for many years, it still was in me that, like, well, it's all pointless. You're not supposed to live. It's meaningless, and it's always sort of grafted into me. Like, it's always there, but, you know, there's things I do every day to try and maintain well-being, and it's so much better for me now. I got to make a video like 50 different ways my life is better since exiting, even though I was never really in it. I was raised like Greek Orthodox, but put in Catholic schools, and so I never really belonged to that church, but I was just involved in it. I was raised in it. I was never Catholic. And I think that's gross to say your child is of a certain religion. They can't decide that. They can't possibly know what they mean. And it's a lie to, you're lying when you teach that to kids, that religion to kids, because as truth, because you can't even know it's true. You can believe it, you can feel this sense of it, but it's so cruel to try and indoctrinate kids into something that you can't possibly know is true, in large part because there's so much evidence to undermine it, from how the Bible was assembled and how many forgeries are in it. Stuff I've learned later, like many letters of Paul were not written by Paul. The Gospels, nobody knows who wrote them. Their stuff was added to them throughout all the copies made over hundreds and then thousands of years. Stories were added. Different notions of theology were added. Anyways, I'm going down this rabbit hole here. But there's never enough time to go into just how cruel and stupid and superstitious and hostile to life itself that the Catholic Church is. And I was doing research for an assignment I wrote for class, for a screenwriting class, and I was looking into some Catholic stuff about abortion, and it was it's just so cruel to people who are pregnant, and so just chauvinistic. Their attitudes about abortion. And I was looking up stuff about ectopic pregnancies, and they say you can't even take a drug to miscarry, to induce an abortion in an ectopic pregnancy, because and I don't even want to get, it's so cruel. And oh man, I noticed I dropped something here earlier. Top of a tea bag. Littering is not my bag of tea. I don't litter. Anyways, and that stuff just ran a train through me, and when I relapsed, that stuff was going through my head, although it was much more faint and kind of nebulous and confusing, and I was horrified by it, because these thoughts would come at me very powerfully and overwhelming, and I was just in a lot of pain. I was feeling physical pain. I was having a lot of trouble sleeping for a month, a lot of trouble eating. There were many times where I couldn't even go to the library and open my laptop, because it was so painful. I was scared I'd have to check myself into a mental hospital, and I did kind of try to, but they wouldn't let me, because there's certain rules about the ER, how they do that. Like, you basically need to be in extreme crisis in the moment, and because I was scared I wouldn't be able to take care of myself, because that's what happened the last time I relapsed in 2012. Where I was so so disabled, like I couldn't function, I couldn't drive, I could barely communicate. There were days where it was too painful to even turn on my computer. I was sleeping. There was a time during this 9-month period where I was disabled where I could sleep like 45 minutes a night. I was in so much pain, compulsively pacing back in. The overwhelming sense of compulsions in me that were just driving me to be like overcome by these horrible thoughts of having to be disconnected from life and your body and all the weird and awful ways that basically, if you were if there was no God, and if a human race were to create a religion to try and force and like jam and wedge this religion onto people, and overwhelm their senses and indoctrinate them and brainwash them, which is what I consider they did to me and to other students, this is what it would look like. And it's so easy to look back at it with distance now and feel better about being distant from it and being informed by it and understanding, okay, that's the strength, that's how far fanaticism can go. It looks totally normal. When I was growing up, I just thought everybody was like, it was totally normal. And anyways, so my relapse, it was involving that somewhat, some other stuff too, and I've been so much better. So I had to spend a lot of time just doing things to try and sort of reactivate my connection to my body, because depersonalization means disconnected from your body. It's your body and mind's way of dealing with stress, I guess, and drugs can induce it too, but a lot of it is dealing with stress, and I never dealt with it that well. And depersonalization, disconnected from your body, so literally stuff like feeling numb and like I'm not connected to my body, and I didn't have those manifested in different ways for me than a lot of people. A lot of people seem to have certain symptoms. For me, it was a lot of like the religious stuff was in there, like, oh, I can't feel things, I had trouble swallowing food because I had so little desire for food. And on top of that, I was having major problems sleeping. I was having sleep paralysis for the first time in my life. Never had that before in my life, where I'd wake up and I was like this, like I couldn't move for a few seconds. No matter how tired I was, too, I couldn't get a full night's sleep for like a month. And strange taste in my mouth, all kinds of things. But I remember one particular day I went to the gym, and man, it was so painful. And I felt no drives, no desires. Like I could not watch a movie. I tried watching a movie the day after I relapsed. I watched Parasite, a great film, but I was in so much pain watching it. It was incredibly difficult to watch because I couldn't process emotions. They were not getting through to me. So I would like do stuff like go to the gym, because my understanding was you try and do stuff to reconnect to your body, but it was very slow going recovery. I'm 2 years out. I'd say I'm very well recovered, but I still have symptoms and little flare-ups. One weird symptom, and I've had this very on and off, like I'll go a while without it sometimes, and I'm feeling it a little now. I had this spot on my left, like outer thigh, that it would like feel like a hot pack was on there and alternating with like a cold pack, like cold water was running on it. And it wasn't painful, it was like an interesting sensation, but I knew that was part of the, somehow with my nerves being shot, part of the dissociative disorder. And it would come and go and I'd feel it. Last few weeks and months, I haven't even noticed that I just don't feel it. And then here's the thing, when certain things I start getting a little manic, a little stressed, it'll flare up, and it's happening now, but in a way it feels good. It feels like this thing working its way out of me. And what I mean when I'm getting manic or stressed, when I'm compulsively checking social media too much or stalling on my writing, I'm not just being well, I'm trying to like contract and like control everything. I'm like tense like this. That's when it happens. When I loosen up and I'm just well and my mind is straight, it doesn't happen. But I did get stressed. Last week I got so stressed on the bus, I missed my bus stop when I was going into the valley. So it's like I go to the food bank still to get food, cheap groceries, and I have to, it's basically, it's like an hour and a half trip to get there, hour and a half back. I just go once a week, do it. I don't really mind the commute, but when I was in the valley, I missed my bus stop like 3, 4, 5 stops because my mind was spinning, and I was like, oh crap, and you know, I just ended up walking, like just got out and walked back to the stop I wanted to get at, or to the food bank. But anyways, stuff like that, when I know I'm going through that, it's like, oh, I'm not being connected, I'm not feeling grounded, I'm not feeling well. So I remember that like first month or two recovering, not only I couldn't watch movies, I could no longer write. It was so painful, I don't know how to describe it. It's like being on some strange drugs. Um, yeah, I couldn't go to the library and like open my laptop. It was too painful, and so I was losing film work by not being able to apply for stuff, and I was homeless at the time. Oh, did I mention that? Living in my car, and it was terrifying for me. It was absolutely terrifying. The feeling of being isolated and alone, isolated from my own mind, from my, my own identity. And oh, and I didn't even get to the derealization part, feeling like reality is fake. So like it was slipping away, like I couldn't recognize people almost. They weren't there, not physically, right, but like emotionally I didn't respond to them. And it's not that I felt nothing, it was just like a very strange pain of like wanting to feel some normalcy and talk to someone, and just this overwhelming feeling like a knife was cutting through me. If I tried to activate those emotions, is like my body would fight back and collapse in on itself, and I couldn't feel emotions watching films. It was horrifying. One time I went to the gym shortly after that, and there was a guy who worked there I would see there a lot, and it was like I saw him and I was like, I don't even know what that is. Like, is it a person who works here or what? Like, that's the derealization part. And I was in the shower experiencing dissociate or depersonalization, disconnected from my body. I was looking at my hands like, how are these my hands? And seeing the water run down the wall, and I'm like, what is that? Like, what is coming down? Like, what is that water doing? And it was very hard to concentrate while working out. Again, it took months and months and months just to feel barely normal, of getting up early, trying to eat right, exercising, walking, making videos constantly, trying to feel normal, um, trying to still go to events even though it was very painful to try and talk to people, because I couldn't be myself. I couldn't talk like myself anymore, so it was very, very painful. That was very painful when it's like, oh, like I'm around all these film people and I was like, oh, I can't even sense film, like the thing I love. And the short of it is, over the last 2 years, it just constant steady work of trying to feel looser, more connected with my body. The one thing that did make a big difference, so Jordan Hardgrave, he's a YouTuber who does coaching for DPDR to get out of it. He says he's cured himself of it. He says he's helped cure so many people. He's got lots of testimonials. His program didn't do anything to help me. I went through it, but I'm like, this is bigger than just do this and it's going to feel better. The one thing that did help, and it has helped, and it's continued to help, and I still have to do it every day, because if I don't try and maintain my wellness every day, which fortunately is not really hard, the hard part is loosening up and sort of untensing myself. I'm even tense now, and it's not good, but because I'm getting a little manic of thinking about it, is guided muscle relaxation. He has a guided muscle relaxation video, which I finally came across and saw. I did it in my car, and immediately I wasn't recovered. I was nowhere near recovered, but by this point it had been like about a year since my relapse, so I was getting along. I was doing a lot better. I was writing again by that point, filming and doing stuff, but I was still having big fits and flare-ups. Basically all it is first of all, I gotta loosen up now. I'm like, it's how you connect to your body. So even right now I'm being too tense and everything, so it's like just loosening your muscle, like relaxing, deep breathing. I seriously have to do it now. I'm getting like manic. And concentrating on a part of your body, and all it is just looking at the birds and the trees here, like tensing some muscles and just holding it, and then just slowly loosening the muscles. So like, say I'm doing it in my shoulders and arms, so I would do, he didn't hold his breath, but I can't help but want to hold my breath when I do it. It's like, do it for like 5 seconds. So I'm tensing my arms and shoulders and back, and loosening those muscles and being aware of it completely. And it was like a discharge of all this tension. It made a big difference, and I didn't do it again for a while. I don't really know why. And lately I've been like the last few weeks and months, I've been trying to do it every day. I don't. Sometimes I just don't think about it because I'm doing pretty well, and I don't do it for a week or so, but I try and do it somewhat regularly. I work out every single morning. I try and do my writing every day. I went one day without writing. I was so tired. I slept like 3 hours the night before. I still feel sick about it. I don't like doing it. So by writing, I mean screenwriting. doing my screenwriting exercises, which are getting pretty hard, but that's good. I was kind of like, oh man, it's so hard. This is I don't want to say like not fun, but it's like, well, this is what I wanted. I knew when it gets hard, that's when you'll get better. So look at all these birds around here. So again, or something like tense your neck. I like breathing out through my mouth slowly and completely loosening those muscles. And you can do it for every muscle group in your body, even like your, your butt, your pelvic floor muscles, the pee holding muscles, legs, toes, hands. So squeeze them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then slowly release that grip and breathe out. And the most difficult part, it's that you can't be tense, you can't be manic. You have to sort of, it's not letting go of control. It's like bullshit to me. It's saying like, oh, you need to let go and just, no, it's being able to just be without needing to control and be tense and stuff. So to do and not be tense and control. And it just helped a ton. Not just that, but just in general, like every day I get up pretty much at the same time. I feel like shit that I slept in or lied down for like 15-20 minutes today at 3:45 in the morning. Even that, no matter how tired I am, I always try and get up then. I got home once at like midnight or 1 in the morning, still got up at 3:45. I had to take a nap later in the day, but like learning a routine that's very good for me. So getting up or eating healthy, just trying to eat clean food, oatmeal, fruits, vegetables, salmon. I get that from the food bank cheap. Otherwise, I couldn't have. Man, groceries are so expensive. That's why it's worth it for me to do the 3-hour round trip to get food inexpensively. And, not worry about like, oh, should I do this? Should I get this entertainment? Whatever. Just if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to be writing and then maybe watch a movie or something, but I want to get a lot of work done first before I do that. So it took a long time. It took a lot of problems and, a lot of, like, just, it's actually, I can think of one moment in particular. It was about, how was it? Oh, I actually know the day. It was December 18th. I was at Sunspace, which was a concert venue in Shadow Hills in Los Angeles, and I knew the owner there, and I still know him. I saw him a few weeks ago. He was really nice and helpful to me, and he does hilarious videos on the Dr. O'Dub channel, the Flex Trek Whip Snake with Steve Clymer. He's Steve Clymer, Noel, and I needed a place to just be while I was sick, and he let me hang out there a lot, and I would just help out with the concessions. And I remember feeling really, really scared that I was going to get so dissociated I'd have to like leave my life again, like the last time I was disabled. And instead of fighting it, I just sort of let it. I'm like, okay, I'll just let it in. Like I can't fight. There's no strength in me to fight these feelings. And by just loosening up in that moment, accepting it, I felt like these goosebumps, and it was this strange taste in my mouth. It almost felt like poison leaving my body. It was only a month in. I'm 2 years in now. I'm still recovering. I am like way, way better. Like I'm doing, I don't like to say I'm even doing really well now, because that to me makes me dissociate. Like I'm congratulating myself. I'm just so well recovered at this point. The little flare-ups I have are just that. It's like just slight little issues. But being tense is a big problem for me. Even at work, if I'm hunched over at my computer, now I've had this pain in my shoulders and stuff for the last 2 months. Oh, a hummingbird up here. And it was from bad posture and a shoulder impingement. And now I've been working for like the last 2 months trying to do that. My back and neck crack so much. I've never had that before, but when I want to get discouraged about it, I realize I have to calm down. So, oh, you can't hear it now, but yeah, I have to be loose. So when I was at sunspace, like I was saying, I just accepted, like, okay, I'm gonna have this horrible compulsive thoughts about having to leave my life, and all these religious thoughts in me, and it's horrible compulsions about, you know, sort of scrupulosity and needing to be free of, or you know, having to, you know, be totally like almost possessed by this horrible church and other stuff. Jeez, hummingbird. And I just let it. I'm like, okay, I'll allow it to happen, and it ended up making me feel so much more relieved in that moment, even though I was hurting. Like I said, the goosebumps came over me, and the strange taste in my mouth, and it felt like the poison, like, slowly coursing out of me. And I have to constantly be vigilant, but not tense about it. Just like trying to be well, just every day, just writing, working at this. And it's hard. The hard part is, like, you know, not looking at, like, man, what is this hole in my life that this thing has done? You know, in a way, it's helped me a ton in my screenwriting, because it makes me fascinated by characters that are, you know, basically like stressing their belief systems to the point of fracture, which is what I had to experience and see, where, you know, I never really, I was doing two things at once. It was like I was living a, I don't want to say double life, because I wasn't really, but like, I never really believed in Christianity, but I had always lied to myself and said I did. And all it took was a few little things to make me realize, oh, all that effort, all that bitter struggle, I can't really justify any of this belief. It doesn't make sense. And it wasn't any scientific reason that made me give it up. It was personal testimony, personal experience. It was a horrible, destructive thing. And I hope more people can be free of it. And, you know, don't kid yourself with this stuff, and don't limit your life to what these, you know, ancient superstitions tell you about yourself. So anyways, I've been getting too tense in this video, but here's the thing. When it makes me scared, and it makes me think, oh, I got to do even more to get better, like, that's exactly when I have to do the opposite. Not check my phone for messages or whatever, not check my own thoughts or be angry at myself. I mean, check my own thoughts, but like not check in and be like, oh, here's why I'm such a screw up, a loser, why I should be so angry with myself. Just like, I can be well and keep going and embrace that unknown of when I let go of this control that I'm trying to maintain over myself. It's a different kind of control. It's like just a wellness, just go and do, instead of constantly run these thoughts in my head of, I have to, oh man, I screwed up, I dissociated a little, I'm messed up. Just be well, let go. I'm so tense, right? Like, feeling it. I have to calm down. But you know, instead of feeling down about that right now, just embrace it and be like, oh, okay, I went through this. It's this weird experience I don't know how to deal with, and the Catholic Church never fucking taught how to properly deal with life's issues or deal with stuff like this. That's why they try so hard to force you to basically constantly fear, constantly grovel, constantly think you're worthless, nothing you can do. That's what part of what drove me insane. It's like, well, there's nothing you can do to be redeemed, to be forgiven of your sins, go to heaven, yet you're supposed to accept forgiveness. And so you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to ask forgiveness, but you can't earn it. So what are you supposed to do? I don't get it. And if you actually take that seriously, which Catholics don't, otherwise they'd go insane from the polar opposites they're living, the cognitive dissonance, you would do what I do. You would realize this is insanity. This is like Midnight Express, the movie, when they're walking around that wheel in that prison. It's just total insanity. Trying to reconcile things that are polar opposites. You can't do anything, but you can. And it's a great way to keep people under control, because ultimately you have to assent to something to guide your life, and it's you assent to whatever the fuck those deluded fanatics in the clergy tell you. All men tell you. So anyways, you know, I'm doing a lot better now. Even in the scary moments, I'm doing so much better. And just got to keep going. That's the thing. You can't take for granted that I'm doing well. Just keep going and it'll be well. But it's always like jumping off a cliff in a way, to accept that I'm well, rather than try and manage it and finesse it and control it like I would before I knew about these coping tools, and just getting up early, like I say, eating well, being well, you know, not getting too involved in stuff, like wrapped up in whatever. Certain things for me, I know I have to avoid, like just getting in my own head too much. And big things for me, again, filmmaking, writing, and trying to maintain my own, like my character, meaning get up early, eat well, just be, just accept things are scary. There's always stuff that's, such a trip about living in LA that can be kind of scary, but it was scary for me in Virginia, feeling trapped there. So, and I don't even like saying that, like, oh, I've got a complaint. Man, it's good. It's all good in a way. So, anyways, I hear someone in the living room. Maybe they're waiting to go on the balcony now, but I'm gonna go. Yeah, I smell cigarette smoke, so maybe someone's smoking somewhere. Or there's an ashtray right here. So, thanks for watching. Try and have more updates soon. I don't know when, because I'm so busy writing, but yeah, like and subscribe, all that stuff. Bye.